The Millville United podcast is a weekly podcast hosted by Dr. Spike Cook,
sharing stories, ideas, and information about the Millville Public School District in southern New Jersey.
For more information or to connect with us, follow the hashtag MPSWC and like Millville Public Schools on Facebook. And when I grow up.
Okay, welcome to episode 4 of the Millville United podcast. Our guest this week is the principal of the Child Family Center, Joann Burns. Joann, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
I'm so happy to have Joann here as an elementary principal. We work very closely with Joann each year on our transition from our 3 and 4 year olds as they grow up and they come over to the elementary schools.
Right. It's a little different.
It's a little different, So I want to go over, the awesome things that are going on at the Child Family Center. But first, for our viewers and our listeners, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into education.
Okay, I'm a Millville born person. I've been born and raised in Millville my whole life. I went away to Trenton State, the College of New Jersey, excuse me. I guess I showed my age that way. But I went to Trenton State College and happened to come back and get a job in Millville. It's where I've always wanted to be. I was very involved in the union when I first started, and administration was about as far away as the moon as far as I was concerned. Different things happened along my path. I taught first grade and second grade. I started here in 7th grade math, and then had the opportunity to see that there was a problem with some of the children who just weren't quite ready. So at the time, Dr. Miller allowed me to start a program which was called Transitional First Grade. And that was for the children who had left kindergarten and just weren't quite ready for first grade. A lot of summer birthday boys.
Right.
They were in the program, and it was very successful. Then we found out there was a problem with some of the children who left preschool and weren't quite ready for kindergarten. So we started transitional kindergarten. And that, again, was a lot of summer birthday boys who just happened, you can't always have a calendar set when a child is ready to come to school. And Dr. Miller, again, listened to all of the research that we had, and we visited other schools and permitted me to start another new program. And that was very successful. We've always had a preschool program in Millville. It was a half-day program.
Okay.
It was Title I funded. Actually, the high school class of 1972 built the small Child Family Center building, which used to be by the tennis courts at the high school, until it burnt down in 2000. And we then were able to build the large Child Family Center on Coombs Road, which holds 41 classrooms, 600 children of just 3 and 4 year olds.
So when you were in elementary, what building were you working at?
I was at Rick Avenue, and then I happened to have 2 children. And when they came to Rick Avenue, it wasn't quite big enough for mom and children. So mom left, and I went to Wood School.
And you went to Wood School.
And I enjoyed Wood School tremendously. It was, I liked Rick Avenue also, but very different. And it's a family atmosphere at Wood where they all walk to Wood School.
Yes.
No buses. And it was just a little different. And I learned so much about building family relationships there and the importance of having that connection with the family. As a matter of fact, when we did build the Child Family Center, they talked about changing the name. And it's the Child Family Center, and we put a lot of emphasis on the family part at the Child Family Center. So as it went along, there came an opening in administration. I had my supervisor certificate, but not my principal's. And the New Jersey Excel program was just starting that year.
Okay.
So I was one of the first candidates to go through that program and get my principal's certificate. I only needed 2 classes, so it was a smooth transition. And took on the role of a principal of the Child Family
of the
Center.
child families. So a couple things that I think of, I'm excited to have, we're going to have the Wood School folks on a little bit later in the year. They're celebrating their 100th anniversary. So
Yes.
really cool events that they're going to be having this year.
Now, I didn't go to Wood School as a student. I was a Culver School student.
Oh, okay. So
my father went to Wood School, but
they've talked about having a Culver School reunion and stuff too,
yes.
you know, because when we did the Bacon School reunion, there was a few people, because we were able to, like at Bacon, there was a time where, you know, of course it was like a K-8, you know, really
right.
like when it first started. And then there was a good 20 years where it was 7th and 8th. So we
Yes.
almost had all the people in Millville because they had come through for junior high. But
was it a high school at one time?
Just 7 and 8,
okay.
yeah. And then what a lot of them had said was they had come, you know, either from Culver or Wood, which were the elementary
Right.
sendings at the time. And then there's a, you know, when is that going to happen? When is the, you know, the Culver, you know, school reunion going to happen? Which is interesting, because when I go down to that building, I often forget, you know, that it was a school because of the way that it's been redesigned.
Right.
And I love the classic look and the classic feel.
Yeah.
So, and then it's interesting too, because we have this now partnership with the NJXL,
Yes.
where we have a lot of folks that are going through the NJXL program. So you started.
I was the first
Wow.
cohort that went through that, and it was predominantly middle and high school staff who wanted to become administration. There were only 2 preschool staff members who were trying to get their principal certificate. And over the years, as we've had changes in vice principals, there aren't a lot of candidates out there that have an early childhood background and administration. So it's something that we look, you know, we always struggle and look for. And
yeah, that's because you almost you look at there's a lot of probably K-5 experience, and then, you know, or you have the middle school experience where you could drop down and do. That's sort of what I did. I had mostly middle school experience, then you can kind of drop down, or you can go up. But it's hard if you sort of sometimes get into that area where it's like, well, you don't have the experience for that because, you know, it's a different world. So tell us a little bit about what is that world like, because it is probably the most used building. You know, it is one of the most beautiful buildings that we have. It is one of the most interesting also concepts in curriculum, as we were talking a little bit in the pre-show, because as we've become so focused on the standardized assessments, there's a lot of different things that you guys do to work with the kids as the whole child. So tell us, like, what's a day in the life like at the Child Family Center?
Magical.
Yeah, I love it. You're right.
It's a magical day.
It really,
and that's our motto.
Yeah.
But it is a magical day, and it actually starts at 7 in the morning. We have children that come in for we call it wraparound, and it's from 7 to 8, and parents drop off. It can be done with assistance from Quality Care, or it's done on a fee basis with parents, and they drop them off, and that is run by staff members who come in early.
Okay.
And so at least they see familiar faces, and that's from 7 to 8. Our day starts at 8. We have about 400 children that get off of about 14 buses, and all gather in what we call the parent meeting room with their teachers. The aides get them off the buses, and teachers are in there waiting for them. And they just come in full of energy, full of smiles. At this time of the year, still a few tears.
So every morning they come to the central.
Yes. We struggle with, since it's a 2-story building, with 41 classrooms. I have trouble letting a 3-year-old just walk off a bus and walk down the hall and find his classroom. So the wraparound children leave wraparound. There are about 100 of them, and come into the parent meeting room, and all the bus children and the parents also bring them in there. And that's 8 o'clock. And by 8:10, they're back in their classrooms.
Okay.
It just works like clockwork.
Okay.
So they get in their classrooms. We start with breakfast. Some classrooms start with a morning meeting instead of breakfast, a center time, so to speak, and greetings. And we focus a lot on the social emotional. We feel that if we can get the children started on the right social emotional path, then they are going to be able to get the cognitive concepts that they need as life goes on. And we use positive behavior support as far as our disciplinary technique. So after the center time, after the circle time, some have breakfast, some go into what we call small groups.
Mm-hmm.
Each classroom has a different schedule. Some go right outside. We're required to have 45 minutes of physical activity a day, which is phenomenal.
And that's not necessarily with a physical education teacher.
We
it's
have
with...
no special teachers.
Oh, you have no special teacher. Okay.
No,
So
our
that's
teachers
all
have
on
to
the
teach it all.
core teachers.
Yeah. And the 45 minutes of outside time, and we go outside. If it's drizzling, we're out.
Mm-hmm.
The children don't mind it at all. The staff has learned to accept it. But we do stick with the 45 minutes of required physical activity time. We have 4 gyms. We call them gross motor rooms in our building.
That's right. Because I remember when you were doing the tour here, you were calling, the gross motor.
Right. That's what we call it, gross motor rooms. And so the children do get that time no matter what. And then they have center time, and that's our primary learning time.
Okay.
We use the creative curriculum, which has 50 teaching and learning objectives. They say 35, but they have parts A, B, C. So when you're counting the objectives, it becomes 52 actually. And they're based on all domains. We have the social, as I said, which we focus on. We have cognitive, we have literacy, math, language, and physical, fine and gross motor. The teachers are required to log in 360 anecdotes a quarter.
So what would an anecdote be? Like,
it'd be proof of a child accomplishing an objective.
Oh, okay.
So if the objective happens to be holds child-adult conversations, then there are guidelines for that. It requires a 5 exchange conversation, and they would note maybe the subject or something like that the conversation was on, and log that into, it's called the GOLD teaching strategy system.
So are they constantly like have a device in their hand, or they do it on
we
like
are
paper?
Wireless. Thank you, Bryce Kell.
Yeah.
We became wireless this summer.
Well, that's interesting, because I was crowing for the longest time. I thought we were the only ones, but I didn't know that you guys didn't have it. So
the teachers, a lot of them use their own personal phones to snap pictures of if it's a building project or something, or negotiating conflict resolution, they'll snap pictures or a little video clip, and they can upload that right into Gold. And then from that, they document the children's behaviors and learning, and can come up with, we do a family progress report.
Okay.
Again, we don't call them report cards, they're family progress reports. We share them with the family.
Right.
And, but it's all done with the computer. It's all done in Gold, and the teachers have their objectives. They, even outside, they walk around sometimes with their clipboard. It's been a challenge because engagement is my main focus.
Mm-hmm.
And, our teachers have to come in and be engaged 100% of the time. It's, when you're dealing with 3 and 4-year-olds, you can't be ill, you can't be hurt. They just don't understand. They're sympathetic, but they just don't understand that. They expect you 100% of the time to be with them.
And it's not like you can give them like, and we see it here because you're trying to foster that too, but it's not like, well, it's independent work time, and
there's
no independent work time. So when I like, here's since we're talking about that, when you're going in as the administrator, I understand like we have our walkthroughs and stuff, but you're also looking for something different. Like, and you had mentioned like your focus. So when you go in there, what are you looking for?
I'm looking for children who know how to get along with other children. First of all, child-to-child learning is big at the Child Family Center because there are 15 or 16 children and 2 adults in every classroom. So those 2 adults can't be the primary learning focus for those children.
That's right. Yeah.
So a lot of times the child-to-child learning, the negotiations of how to make a building, how to cook a dinner in our dramatic play area, how to serve the dinner, make sure you have the right number of utensils. That's one-to-one correspondence. We talk a lot about shapes, and then it's the teacher and age job to kind of facilitate that learning. Okay. Ask a lot of open-ended questions, ask conflict resolution prediction kind of questions, and what would you do if, or what would happen if, and give them scenarios that they may not be able to think of without giving them just the answer.
So you're looking, and within that, you're looking through the various trends to like how the teacher is facilitating that, and also how the students are obtaining that,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
So are you interacting with them too?
When you go in, you don't have a choice. You really don't.
Yeah, right.
You don't. They come running over,
Right.
Mrs. Burns.
Right. And they're
it's-
excited and all that.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
And they are. So, or let me look what I did. And so even during formal observations, it becomes very difficult because I am trying to observe a teacher, and anybody that walks in the room, we feel we've created a safe enough haven for them that if someone walks in, they just automatically welcome them and bring them in as part of their play and learning. So
that's interesting.
It is.
So they will grab your hand and they'll take you over.
I can't make this work. Can you help me with this? Will you read me a story?
Wow.
And it's interesting. It's very difficult. Dr. Gentile happened to bring the Commissioner of Education, Dr. Surf, down for a visit 2 years ago. And he had been in other preschool classrooms. And so he wasn't as surprised. Dr. Moore from Millville was a little more surprised at how openly they accepted her and expected her to get on the carpet with them
and work with them.
Right. I mean,
Wow.
He was right down on the carpet with them right away. And I applaud the staff for that because they have created a safe haven for them.
Sure.
So I think they know anyone that gets in, comes into our building is fair game for them to learn and play with.
That's interesting. Yeah, because it's, and like, I like what you said about, like almost like with the teacher to student ratio, you're looking at, what are the learning opportunities? So those learning opportunities are coming from everywhere. Not only individually, but in groups and stuff.
We do transition times up and down the hallway, and you'll hear our teachers singing songs or counting the steps as they go up and down the steps. We hide shapes throughout the hall, and they look for rhombuses. The familiar song "Twinkle Twinkle Little Star" has a diamond in the sky. We say has a rhombus in the sky. So we're trying to push the learning in a creative, playful way through every part of our day.
So if I'm a 4-year-old and I'm in, and you've gone through the morning time, and you get into your time where it's like the dramatic play. So I can pick whatever I want to do?
Yes, it's free choice center time for 2 hours. Now that's a state required amount of time for our program.
Wow.
And we do control it so that we will have center boards, and it'll show maybe 4 choice. Yeah. Well, 4 circles. So only 4 children are allowed in that center.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And
so
you have your little badge and you put it on there, and we make accommodations. We have some children who quite haven't figured that out, and they have a special sticker, and they can go in any center, whether it's met its maximum or not,
right,
at the beginning of the year, until we can wean them into understanding.
Okay, that's kind of closed right now. I got to come back. So, but everything is basically fair game. So, in your opinion, like how many choices would I have?
11. We have about 11.
You have
centers.
11 centers.
Dramatic. I probably won't be able to name all.
No, that's fine.
But dramatic play.
So there's plenty of
sand, water.
Sand, water in the classroom.
Yes.
Love it.
Yeah. Sand, table, water, Play-Doh.
And then is like, say they didn't want to do all that and they wanted to talk to the teacher, or is that part of it too? Because like you're saying, there's a quiet area.
Yes. Wow. And there's an area, each classroom has an area where the child can actually be totally alone. And they go in there and just regroup sometimes, or they might be sad because the dramatic play area is closed. And they might not be able to figure out what they want to do, so they'll just go and they'll sit. It has soft cushions, some stuffed animals for them. We also have a reading area.
One of the things that we're doing this year, we started with the staff. It's a Genius Hour, where we went. Like I took 4 of the staff meetings and basically said to the teachers, you can do whatever it is you want to do. It's like the Google philosophy, right?
Right.
And what we've found is that teachers are like, wow, this is really cool. I can do something that I really like. That's going to, the only caveat is, it'll benefit.
Right.
How's it going to benefit the school? How's it benefit children? So what it's done is it's sort of been like a mind shift. And then when you go into the classroom, what some of them are doing now is like saying, well, if we can allow time for the kids to work on their quote unquote genius, what are they passionate about? What do they want to do? And that kind of harkens back to what you're going through here in 3rd and 4th, 3 and 4 year olds, because I'm sure that they're doing these things because they want to. So they're going to be engaged
Right.
in it, right? It's not like that they're being forced to do. Well, you're going to have to do this right now, right? So
Right.
they can kind of they can kind of like almost like choose their passions.
Yes.
And you see that come out like, and I love that in time back to the theme, it's
Right.
magical, and we all know how much you love, Walt
Disney.
Disney. But that's a great way to model learning and
Yeah.
model a learning environment.
Well, creative curriculum requires you to come up with in the old days, they called them themes, and we kind of got away from themes. They're called investigative studies. And to start the study, it should be something that the children have suggested. And when we first started this, I was thinking more on the lines of pumpkins, apples, and some of the units of studies that you can investigate.
Right.
But one of the suggestions was chairs, cups, things that you wouldn't think about. And to watch the creativity of the staff and the children taking walks, looking for different kinds of chairs, different things to sit on. And just they start with a web of what the children know, and then what do they want to learn.
Right.
And the investigative studies are amazing, and how they link math and literacy into it is, I have such a creative and wonderful staff. They're magical too.
And I think if we could see that, like, especially in the elementary world, like it's not that different, and in fact, even when we look at the Common Core, like I was at a workshop yesterday on writing for sources, they're all talking about investigation.
Right.
They're talking about, like, when you're going back through the text, like, be a sleuth and find these different things out, because you have to support it. You do your research, even like with the Genius Hour. If a kid in 5th grade wants to build a chicken coop, they have to go through, and a kid here does. but
we live near
Vineland. Right, but that should be, and that should be encouraged, and we're going to help them with that. But it's like, I feel like sometimes if we can give some of this power to the learning to the kids, like so far you said that peer learning is extremely important. Looking at what they're passionate about based on the things that are going on in the school, and allowing that creativity. I like that direction. I think that really is a whole child centered approach. How do the parents like it?
They like it. There are those that we have to convince that because they don't bring worksheets home, that they're still learning. And it doesn't take long. When the children come home and they'll use the word paleontologist or excavation or different things, they're wowed.
Yeah.
They really are. They're wowed. And some parents have come in and said that their children have told them, use your words, Mom. They're not nice words, Mom.
Wow.
And, and that's what we teach. And, we don't use our hands. We use our words. We solve problems. And parents are very receptive to that. So, but it's taken a while to prepare the parents for that change.
And then as they get out of their the previous thing we were just talking about with dramatic play, center time. So then they have their lunch, and then
we have a short rest. The state regs require a 30-minute rest.
Okay.
We're fortunate to have iPads and iPods in our building, so the children that just don't need, children who are like my daughter or me, who don't need the rest, they can at least be quiet. They have a book on the cot with them. After 20 minutes of that, we can turn the lights on and they go back to learning in some of the quiet centers. We don't necessarily have all of the noisy centers open during rest time. And then center time continues in the afternoon. And then at 2:00, 2:10, we dismiss. Our building is then used until 5:30 every day for wraparound. We have about 110 children that stay for wraparound. And it's used cleanup this year through August 22nd. We're there all summer.
All summer. So could a student conceivably go through from 7 to 5:30?
They do.
They do.
And, it kind of, as a mom, it kind of makes you think, oh, that little 3-year-old, but they're having fun.
Yeah.
And I did have a dad say to me last year, and I've had a couple this year that didn't say it, but thought it, they dropped them off and they're crying in the morning. Some of them, they don't want to pull away from mom and dad.
Right.
And then they pick them up at 5:30 and they're still crying because they don't want to leave.
They want to leave.
This dad said, you know, I drop him off crying. I come, he's playing, he's having fun. I pick him up and he starts crying again.
Again.
But
That's really cool. So,
is.
and how many teachers do you have there and staff?
I have 110 staff, 41 classrooms, and teacher and aide. And then we have we have an intervention team, which is 3 people who help us and 2 facilitators. But we also collaborate with the community providers. So we work with, this year we're down to 3, Rick Avenue Country Day in Millville. It's known as Bibells, and Head Start, and Millville Daycare. So I oversee those programs also, and our staff has to go out and monitor those children also. And they all come to us as 4s, but some of them have the 3-year-old program.
Have the 3-year-old program. And then your enrollment, you said, was
well, it's 603 at the Child Family Center, 603, and then we have 9 classes out in the providers. So
wow,
it's a big program. It's a great program, and we're fortunate.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And having gone and visited a couple different times, like I'm always enamored by the building, the colors, the way that the walls are, the way that the floor, I mean, everything that you've done over there has been top notch. It's really, really neat.
It was fun to build it. I got to sit in on the little trailer that was out there on the field every Thursday morning at 10:30 with the architects and the builders, and not knowing a lot about construction. But that was fun. That was fun.
And then even the stuff that you have outside. I mean, that's
we have
all
3 playgrounds and a bike area. So, and then we try to do at least 1 evening activity a month for parents. And we get a great turnout for that. We really do. So every month the parents come back with their children, and we do something fun and exciting. And just, we have math and literacy make and take nights, and parents are just, again, it shows them how you can learn without just doing a coloring worksheet or something like that, that you can interact with a book.
Sure. And you can, and you can, use that creativity. So
we've been fortunate. One of our teachers has a spouse at your school.
Yeah.
And it's quite technologically. So with your influence, it's brought a lot of technology into our building.
That's great.
The dinosaur app for the iPad.
For the iPad.
Oh my goodness. Our children just love that. So, it's been great having you share that with us.
Well, yeah, they're doing a great job, with that. And we have, I have 10 iPads that are going to be rolled out into our kindergarten, which are going to be great. We just are waiting for the cases right now. So we wanted to, sort of model some of that, the things that you're doing. So it is going back and forth. Like I said, we got a lot of new furniture for our kindergarten this year, because we wanted to, brighten it up and do some different things. And, just some of the furniture had been getting old. So, we really look at the kindergarten as that, that immediate, funnel, and we take it serious. We really want to make sure that, the students that are going to come over, that they're welcomed. And so we really appreciate all the stuff that you've done to help us out with that transition.
Well, I have to say, last year's welcome for our 4-year-olds to Bacon School was phenomenal. I mean, it was second to none. They were so excited. They came back. They had little bears. They had their picture. They were so excited. They really felt at home here.
That's great.
So.
Yeah, some of them have still talked about that, and and then the other kids are like, when am I going to get my bear, So and that's all but that's modeling back off of, we use Disney or just the things that we know, it's like, how do you make that experience for a child, and here are some of the things that you can do. So it's really neat, So what I want to do is, maybe later on this year, come out to the Child Family Center and do a show over there. Maybe we could talk with some teachers and see some of the cool things that are going on.
That would be wonderful. Yeah. Cool. You're welcome anytime.
Well, I want to thank you, Joann, for coming on. If you have any questions, or if you ever want to get in touch with Joann, you can give her a call over at the Child Family Center.
856-293-2171.
And if you wanted to email her.
Joann, JOANN .Burns, BURNS @millvillenj.gov.
That's great. Well, once again, we want to thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
And this will conclude our episode 4 of the Millville United podcast.
weekly podcast hosted by Dr. Spike Cook.
Sharing stories, ideas, and information about the Millville Public School District in southern New Jersey.
For more information or to connect with us, follow the hashtag MPSWC and like Millville Public Schools on Facebook. And when I grow up.